The Community Benefits Plan for the Gordie Howe International Bridge includes a commitment to ensure that Indigenous peoples in Canada and local residents have opportunities to engage with the project. Local artists from Walpole Island First Nation, Caldwell First Nation, and Southwest Detroit were commissioned over the fall of 2020 to produce art pieces for the Canadian and U.S. bridge sites. The art pieces are being installed on the temporary climbing systems used for the tower construction and will be visible from both sides of the border for the next 2 years. Meet the artists and learn about their inspiration for their artwork.
I started with the idea of doing a dancer, and I was looking into like grass dances, jingle dress dances, a lot of stuff that had to do with Potawatomi culture, because I'm Potawatomi and Chippewa. But I ended up on the hoop dance because it has a lot of unclear origins and it actually works for a broader spectrum of like types of Native people. So anyone who's interested in the hoop dance or wants to do the hoop dance is allowed to. The hoop dance has a lot to do with healing. It's done for a lot of different reasons and it's usually done to mimic the movement of animals. And there will be any number of hoops from about 3 to as many as like 10 or so. So if you see it's black, red, yellow, and white, which are what you see in the medicine wheel, and they represent the 4 directions, they can represent the 4 medicines. There's a lot of different meanings people put to these 4 medicines, and they're always in the shape of a circle.
I started taking art classes back when I was in grade 6, I believe, so I was 12. Well, I based it off of the creation story that we believe, and it starts off with the creator purifying the world from the first people because they were following evil ways. The key piece was the tree on the back of the turtle because it formed an island, so I was kind of trying to get the tree instead of making an actual island on top of the turtle. The tree and the fruit and the flowers symbolize life and strength. So that was kind of a key piece too. This is my first time doing a project like this. I've more just done simple stuff and sold paintings to those people.
Bonjour, Kinawaya. Hello everyone. Teresa Ultimate Edition Cause, the Kedwanong Doon Chwa. Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Odawa Kwa Ndao. Miigwech. I was very honored to be asked to be one of the artists in this project. You can see that the bear is white, and we have the other bears that are yellow, black, and red. And those colors represent the sacred colors of our people. There are arrowheads down at the bottom, and those arrowheads are to show the ancestors that have traveled and walked this land before us. So this is the eagle staff that represents Walpole Island, and it's in our council chambers. An eagle staff is one of our sacred flags that if you're in a powwow, that eagle staff comes out first, and very powerful. It's a very powerful symbol for our people.
I'm lucky enough to have my son working with me on this. He's my assistant. This is a new thing for him. I didn't want to take a traditional approach to it. I wanted somewhat of a clever or unique or just, interesting way of presenting it. So I kind of went with this polygonal or geometric type layout where it's just a series of shapes, mostly triangles, and depending on color, it's going to give you depth. We added in some people that represent the iron workers. There's a slight difference between the two, representing equality in the iron workers industry. Kind of taking that same polygonal geometric concept and translating it into the statue that is downtown of the Spirit of Detroit. Injected into that the sunset and the waterfront is done in a stripe pattern that was taken from my Mexican culture. It picks up The same type of nod, I went with a different colorway, but it's still injecting that kind of colorful Mexican blanket to represent the heritage and culture.
No, it's so much more. It's so much more than what we had originally thought about and envisioned at that time. I mean, just in a matter of scale, I guess, you know, you could talk about a piece of art being 35 feet long by 26 feet high, but it really doesn't have an impression until you actually see the art or you start doing the art. As you get into it, then you stand back and say, wow, we're really doing this piece here, and you know, it's amazing. It's really amazing. There's a lot of people that will be able to go by there at some time in the future and say, yeah, that's the one I painted, or I worked on that one, or I worked on this one. You know, and we did have some very young children that came in and put a little dab of paint on one, so they've got some input and some ownership to that piece of drawing too. Such a tremendous opportunity for people to see, you know, that like we're all the same. You know, there's no difference between us.
I hope they have an interest in Native culture or about learning more of it, because there's still a lot of people in Canada who unfortunately don't know everything about the culture of their own country. And I hope that they're like really falling in love with the beauty of dances and our culture.